This happened on my graveyard shift. I was helping another short-staffed store across town. Had a woman come in. She seemed a little frazzled and is carrying a Bible, but otherwise she seems fine. She buys some chips, then starts talking to me about the crazy coronavirus stuff, yada yada. Then she tells me she ate an evil spirit, pretending to be a clove of garlic. I, of course, think she's just messing with me at this point, but no, she pulls out a piece of garlic, lays it on the counter, and starts telling me it isn't garlic, and is in fact a demon that wanted to possess her. She then starts asking me about if I believe in spirits or if I can see it, because despite looking like I'm one of the humans that's a third demon, I'm really a human who's a third angel who was sent to Earth to help her expel the evil spirits and urges she feels, and that it's okay if I didn't know it because she can see it, and she leaves the garlic on the counter and tells me that she'll wait for me to deal with it. Now, that's pretty much where the original incident ended, and a few days later, about 2 a.m., maybe 2:15-ish on a Tuesday, I'm working the graveyard shift at my usual store when this woman pops up again. She proceeds to just buy some candy and sorta hang out, asking me about jade, the jewelry type, and incenses, and if we've met before. Nothing as weird as before, though. The weird thing is, I didn't hear or see her come in before she approached the counter. We have a loud-ass siren that turns on when the doors are opened and only shuts off when they close. Normally, that's not a big deal, but considering I'd been stocking and cleaning in the front the whole time, and had only gotten 2 or 3 customers beforehand, it was a bit weird. She hangs out a bit longer, then rushes to the restroom and doesn't walk out until about 6. Keep in mind, she came in at about 2:15. She says have a nice day and just walks out of the store like nothing happened. This freaks me the fuck out because I cleaned the restrooms a little bit after she went in and she somehow managed to slip out or hide somewhere when I went to clean them. Outside of hiding in the halls, there's nowhere to hide in the restrooms and there's no windows to possibly slip out of. And like a jackass, I actually looked up at the top of the stalls and at the ceiling, thinking she had pulled a Spider-Man or something, but nope, she just poof, disappeared and then reappeared hours later, leaving super casual-like. TLDR, customer told me she ate a demon trapped in garlic and I was half angel. Then a few nights later she shows up again, pulls a Houdini in the bathroom and randomly exits and leaves the store a couple hours later. I'm 18 years old and I work a 12-hour shift from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. in a secluded area of the countryside. And I just had one of the creepiest occurrences happen one night. So I got in and the night started off fine. Everything was running smoothly and no problems. Now I work outside in a machine, so around 9 to 10 p.m., things start to get a little weird. I was sitting on my phone in the machine when, out of nowhere, I heard what sounded like a full palm slam against my window. It scared the hell out of me, but as I got out to look and see what might have been done, I found nothing, and I knew that it wasn't anyone working with me, as they were all dealing with different things inside of the plant. More weird things happened that night. At around 11 to 12, I was out checking equipment and was watching a broken belt when clearly, no static or distance, I heard my name from about 1 foot behind me. And again, I didn't have my phone or radio with me at that point, so it wasn't any of the workers calling me. I ran as fast as I could to my machine and locked the door, telling my supervisor about it. But he said that no one was outside that night. Now I'm on edge thinking I'm insane when at about 2 to 2:30 a.m. I'm forgetting that last thing happened and just chilling out. As I'm rounding a corner, I see a figure of abnormal height and very long arms and legs walk across the clearing in front of me and disappear into the back of the yard. I was shitting bricks and got on the radio asking for backup. We looked for the figure as we searched the yard in the dark with our phone flashlights, but we didn't find anything. All of a sudden, me and my supervisor come into a clearing, and we see something stand up and start to walk towards us. I almost died right there when one of the other workers came up in his car, and the figure turned around and booked it back into the darkness. Now, having 3 people see this figure, or whatever it was, the worker takes off in his car after that figure. About 20 to 30 minutes later, he comes back looking both scared and confused. We ask if he saw where this thing went, and he replied with, "It just disappeared right in front of me." All 3 of us immediately turned around and went back to the control room, locking the door. As we catch our breath and try and comprehend what we just encountered, I hear a worker call me over the radio, saying to go check my machine and that this worker saw something creeping around it. So I go out with a wrench and my knife in hand, and now I know I left the machine with the door closed running, and when I got there, the door was open, and the machine was shut off. I immediately said hell no to myself and dropped the knife and wrench, going back to the control room and called the police. At about 4 a.m. the police showed up and took our statements. They looked around but found nothing, so we finished the shift looking over our shoulders, on edge. By the time the day shift shows, all of us are ready to get the hell out of there and go home. All in all, that was probably the creepiest night of my life, and I still have no explanation of what happened and what might have happened if my coworker hadn't shown up with his car and scared the figure away. So, for now, I'm definitely carrying a bigger knife with me and not taking any chances. I was removing medical equipment from a room at 3 a.m. while the body is on the bed in a body bag. The patient had died earlier, so I wasn't aware of what their story really was. This particular breakdown I had to do took a few minutes, and no other staff was around me while I did it. The body bag was white, and it looked like it was made from some kind of tarp-like material. The bag appeared to be shifting very, very slightly. It was hard to see any movement because the only light came from the hallway. I could hear a slight rustle from the tarp, and it came at irregular intervals. There were no breezes or open windows. I tried to look at the body bag a little closer, but I never got any satisfying visual confirmation that it actually was or wasn't moving. My solution was to hurry up and pretend that I didn't notice anything at all. I was on the night shift at the hospital, and one of my rooms was on the far end of the unit, right before this very long hallway made of windows that was never really lit at night. As I was walking out towards this room, I see a figure. It's hulking with arms and legs spread like they were about to run. Thick black denim jacket and black pants like someone had stuffed it full of something, and just a wide-brimmed black hat. I did a double take because something unsettled me, more than just the stillness of it standing in the dark in front of all of those black windows. But I swear to God, it didn't have a face. I legitimately dropped the fluids or tubing that I was holding to the ground as I just stood there, completely frozen in horror, as I just stared at this empty, pale flesh thing. I'm almost about to scream when it starts to turn around away from me, only to realize that it's a little old lady bundled up in a jacket she's put on backwards. Her pale blonde gray hair was puffy enough to make it look like a face. I don't know what she was doing there, but I've run codes and traumas before, and I've never been so scared in my life as being stared down by this faceless night demon lady. Around 12 years ago, I was working security at a small company's headquarters in New York City. My partner for the night had called in sick, so I had to work from 12 to 6 all by myself. Normally, this wouldn't be a problem. I just had to sit in the back room, watch some cameras, and occasionally head out for a sweep. Nothing to it, right? Well, as it turns out, one of the employees had stayed in the building after hours and had managed to avoid my coworker's sweep from the previous shift. I first noticed a movement in my peripheral vision on one of the screens, and then again a few minutes later. This was odd, because I was used to quiet nights in this particular building. I was a little scared when I headed out for my sweep, but it was my job. So I grabbed my flashlight and headed out to begin. I had to start the sweep in one big hallway, and right as I entered, I saw a flash of movement at the end of it. At this point, I was sufficiently freaked out. I stood frozen for a minute or so, looking into the semi-darkness, unsure of exactly what to do. The decision was taken out of my hands, however, as I heard a gunshot resound down the hallway. In what was the scariest moment of my life, I slowly walked down that hallway to investigate the sound. I reached the end and saw to my left that the president's office's light was on. Slowly, I approached the door and creaked it open, scared to death. What I saw will forever haunt me. The man had taken a seat in the president's chair and ended his own life with a pistol. He had splattered parts of himself, his head, all over the floor and wall. Apparently this guy was having problems at home, and because the president was a total asshole to him, he decided to end it in his office and scare the crap out of the president at the same time. In any case, I threw up a few times and I ended up calling the police. I got the next 2 weeks off, but I still have nightmares sometimes about what I saw in that room. Thank you for joining us in today's video. I do want to share with you that we have an email address if you want to share your stories with us to be read on the channel. That email address is thetruekingofcreepy@gmail.com. Again, that's thetruekingofcreepy@gmail.com as shown on the screen. We appreciate you very much and all of your support. This channel means the world to us, and so do you, and we look forward to also incorporating your stories from the community into future videos. Hope you all have a fantastic day, and as always everyone, stay creepy.